So flipping through Facebook Marketplace, I found this deal for this ROG Strix stuff right here. And it's older ROG Strix. It's like an RX 6700 XT and a couple of B550 motherboards, but a pretty beefy power supply or two. And this guy wanted like $500 for it. And I was only willing to offer him like $450 because one of the motherboards was possibly not working. So anyway, he accepted. So we're gonna go take our wife out to eat because it's in a city that we really like to go eat at. So we're gonna change clothes, go eat with the wife, and go pick up these PC parts.
So we got the family loaded up. So here's my wife and our little baby boy, and we're going to drive about 35 or 40 minutes to go pick up this deal, but we are getting a good meal out of it, so it's totally worth it. So I did let the guy know that I was filming, but the audio messed up, but I still wanted you to hear a few things from this conversation, but I'll fill in the gaps afterward.
Hey man.
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Good.
I'll be honest with you. I really hate that
What are you selling?
because I can't figure out why.
Would you rather me fix it for you so you can use it?
Dude, I would love if you did that.
Depending on how much of that conversation you just heard, this guy did not want to sell this stuff. And he's got a lot of his stuff here that he's really emotionally attached to. He had just bought this new graphics card. He was super pumped about using it. And either his motherboard or CPU is dead. Bought a new motherboard over here, but couldn't get anything to work because he just didn't have enough parts to test everything. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to fix this PC up for him and get it ready for gaming and use some of the parts that we have in our house, in our storage. And we'll go over more of what we have here in this box. But he did throw in some extra stuff like this 580 keyboard, mouse. There's a CPU cooler here. It's all kind of dirty, but we'll get all this cleaned up. This case he also threw in. That was not part of the deal that we knew of, but it's missing a screw and one of the USB ports is messed up, so I don't know how much we can use that, but we'll just see how it goes. So let's get this stuff in the house. All right, so we got all this stuff back here at our newly renovated office area, and we'll just kind of go over all the parts and see what we got in all these boxes. So first of all, go through this ROG Strix stuff. We've got graphics card support here. This dude went all out with the ROG Strix stuff. And as we already talked about, the Thor 850 watt power supply, which is pretty nice addition there. A B550M, not a B550M, B550 ATX motherboard. It is a Wi-Fi motherboard. It's a really solid motherboard. It's a little overpriced these days, but it is brand new. So it's a pretty good deal for me on the used market if I wasn't rebuilding this for him. And then the RX 6700 XT ROG Strix. The ROG Strix stuff is very expensive. I mean, that's what I put my main PC build in. So if you saw that PC build on the channel, you know how expensive it is. It was expensive back in 2022, 2021 when a lot of this stuff come out. So, you know, super high dollar stuff. But that's the easy part. So let's go through this other stuff and see what we got. All right, so first, he said this was his old graphics card here. Again, ROG Strix, dude's ROG Strix, man after my own heart there. If you haven't listened to some of the videos we talked about earlier, I'm working on collecting like the top 20 graphics cards from Steam, and this is still one of the top AMD cards that people still use. So at least, or top of the 20 cards. I'm not gonna get exactly the top 20 because there's like integrated graphics, laptop GPUs, but 20 of the top graphics cards from Steam to start testing the newest games in. So I'll probably keep this for my testing, but I have another RX 580 that I'm gonna use in a build for flipping later on. But I'll probably keep this one just for that. He gave me a really cheap keyboard. He said he got it, I can't remember what he said, like Dollar General, Dollar Tree, something like that. We got a CPU cooler, it's got thermal paste already on it. Can't really tell what kind it is, but none of the, I don't see any of the little things to attach the fan with it on there. Here's one set of RAM, Corsair Vengeance. It is 3600 megahertz and it's 32 gigs RGB. So there we go, there's that. He does want to keep the RGB RAM for his system, and we have a Corsair power supply, 750 watts. Looks pretty solid. He did say he had some red and black cords for that. A Wi-Fi adapter. We've got some fans here that look pretty disgusting, but they are Corsair. Well, Montech. So really, these fans are they're just all over the place. So I'm not sure I'll use any of those fans because they're just kind of like all over the place. But he did order custom cables from Cable Mod themselves. He did use custom cables for that. And this is, I don't know which 24 pin goes to that. I'm hoping that it is the 24 pin for, hope we don't have both 24 pins in the same bag here. Okay, good. This one goes with the Thor power supply. He said he mixed up the cords, and I don't know why you would do that, but he did. And but I know this one goes with the Thor power supply because it's those braided, black braided. But he did get some custom red and black from Cable Mod. He paid like way too much money for those, but they are custom made for this Corsair power supply. Anything that is not this black braided stuff goes, all this black braided stuff goes with the Thor power supply, and all this other stuff goes with the Corsair. So I'm going to try to separate that out because it was not done previously, and thankfully we do know that is how these cords are supposed to go so that we don't mess up anything. And the worst thing you can do is put a modular cord with a power supply that doesn't belong with it. We don't want to blow anything up, you know? All right, so that's that box. And then the last thing that we have here, which he said he had some other RAM in here, but I've yet to find it. So I guess there's no other RAM in there. And this is another B550 ROG Strix motherboard. This one doesn't have Wi-Fi on it, but it does have a CPU, and he doesn't have an SSD here, so I'll have to use one of our SSDs to set everything up and test with, but we are gonna build him a nice PC, and we're gonna figure out if it's the CPU that's dead or if both motherboards are dead. We will kind of test that out and see. I'm gonna double check this box real quick and make sure that this other RAM is not in here. Maybe it's in this other motherboard and I just didn't see it. Oh yeah, it's in the other motherboard. So let's see what kind of RAM this has got in it. So the other RAM is 3200 megahertz, 16 gigs, and it looks like it's ripped jaws. So be nice budget RAM for me to use in a flip for sure. All right, so all right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean all this stuff off, and the first thing we're gonna do is see if we can, we're just gonna set up a little test bench here with my portable monitor, and we're gonna see if we can figure out like which motherboard works and which CPU works and all of that jazz. I've got a Ryzen 5 5600 I picked up from AliExpress. I got it pretty cheap. I think it was like 80-ish bucks. They're even cheaper right now with their summer sale stuff, like their back to school sale, so I need to pick some up. So I really need to flip this stuff quick so I can get some more CPUs before that sale runs out. But we're gonna clean all that off and see if we can figure out what works and what doesn't. All right, so I got both the motherboards here ready to go, and I think I might have had them backwards because I think he had them in the box backwards, but this is the non-Wi-Fi motherboard. It's the one he had in the nice box, but we've got one stick of RAM in here to test it, and we've got our trusty sidekick here, the GT710 that we're going to be using to see if we can get a post right here. And we've got a Ryzen 5 5600. That's what we'll be putting in here because this should be compatible, because this motherboard's supposed to be 5000 series ready. So we're gonna see if we can get a post here just to make sure. He said that he even tried to update the BIOS and flash it back too. So we definitely shouldn't have any issues here, but we shall see if that is a problem or not. So we got the CPU in the socket, but we do need a back plate. So hopefully he has the back plates in here somewhere. There is no back plate in there. And he doesn't have a standard, he doesn't have the standard AM4 back plates. So I gotta see if I can find some of those so that we can test this thing. All right, so I just went and took a back plate off another AM4 motherboard that I had laying around so that we can test this thing and not waste time. And I just ordered some replacements off Amazon so that I'll have some extra ones here at the house. I thought I had another extra one, but I don't. So we'll just make it work. It will be okay. All right, so I'm gonna put the stock cooler on here. I don't really want to waste thermal paste with this. So we're not gonna let it run very long. We just want it to post. So I'm gonna kind of just want it to, you know, have a little bit of cooling here. I've not had much luck. Like some people test it without coolers and then just turn it off really fast. But I've had like next to zero luck doing that. So I'm gonna put this cooler on and try it without thermal paste, so at least has some cooling on it. I saw that from DLM Tech Garage. I like watching him from time to time. I'll make sure I have this on CPU fan. And then this is a known working power supply that we have here. Like I know this thing works. It is a 750 watt power supply. It is in good shape. Actually had a guy give me this 750 watt power supply. I built him a PC for a golf simulator, and he just gave me his old PC basically because I gave him a good deal and got him a free PC case basically because his PC case was about to fall apart, and so he gave me this one. All right, and then we've got our trusty Arzopa portable monitor here. Like if you build a lot of PCs, flip a lot of PCs, I highly suggest getting a portable monitor. It has been a lifesaver for me, man. been a lifesaver. So I'm gonna try to get this screen so that my light doesn't glare on it too bad so that we can see. I need a metal screwdriver because my Linus Tech Tip screwdriver will not start a PC for some reason. I don't really know why that is. Okay, but we're gonna turn this on. We got lights on the motherboard. Our portable monitor is up and running, and see if I can see this power switch from upside down. Don't think I can. Okay, so I've actually never seen this happen before. The motherboard LED light is like flashing really fast. The CPU fan is spinning. And of course, I mean, we don't have any sort of post. So I'm not sure what all of that was about, but we're gonna try. Okay, so we have a motherboard light. We're gonna try to start this thing with the screwdriver because you know, I don't have one of those fancy adapter thingies, but we're gonna see if we can get it to start. Okay, so it started up, but I've never seen this before. Like literally the fan is just barely, I don't know if y'all can hear this or not, but it's like the fan's barely spitting anything out. So I don't know what's going on with this motherboard, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just see if the other motherboard will post, and you know, then we'll try to figure out what's wrong with this one. All right, so this is motherboard number 2. We have it set up with the, he already had his cooler, like the back plate mounted, so I just used his cooler. Again, just to see if we could get something to work here. So let's just pray that at least this works, right? Okay, so our Zopa monitor, not sure what that was about, but anyway, our Zopa monitor is working right here, and apparently I have auto ISO on. I didn't want auto ISO on, but that's what happened. All right, so our monitor's on, motherboard light's on, and booting up. We've got our lights here going. It's going through its boot cycle. It looks like we're gonna get a post. All right, we got a post. Awesome. So we know this motherboard works. We know our CPU works. So what we don't know for sure is if this motherboard and this Ryzen 3600 work, and it looks like it's got some issues, but at least we know what we're gonna sell back to him works, so that's at least a starting point for us. We'll see if we can figure out what this is off camera, see if we can figure out if any of that works, and then we'll put together his PC, and I'll give you an update as we go along. All right, so I said I was gonna do this off camera, but I decided to do it on camera. So the last thing that we really just need to check is to see if this Ryzen 5 3600 works, because otherwise this deal is not very good for us, because which I knew that there was a chance that the motherboard didn't work. So I knew that. I wasn't expecting to get a CPU out of this deal, but I also wasn't expecting to fix this guy's computer either. So the fact that, you know, he wants this computer back, you know, fixed in working condition, you know, we're just gonna have to give him an ultimatum basically that says, hey, like I fixed this thing, I had to use my CPU and I used my case, so, you know, you're gonna have to, like, I'm gonna have to be compensated for that and my time, you know. So, well, I'm sure he seemed like a nice dude. I'm sure we'll work out a good deal as far as that goes. And so we'll just have to go figure up, you know, once we figure out what works, what doesn't work, we'll be able to kind of, you know, get us a good game plan about what we can salvage. I'm hoping that RX 580 works, because I would like to have an RX 580 for testing purposes. Even though the drivers are about to, you know, be obsolete, I would like to have it for that. And I would like to have, I mean, I'll always take a Ryzen 5 3600 if it works. So we're gonna see real quick, all right, if this will boot up. That is not the one we need. Maybe it's this one. Yep, there we go. All right, so this is the basic A520 board, and it has like, it does have an easy LED debug, so that'll be nice. And this is a little concerning. So it makes me wonder if this CPU, I mean, you should at least get a power on, even if the CPU's dead. Oh, stupid. We're gonna pretend that didn't happen. Let's see, let's make sure I got the power supply on. Oh yeah, power supply was on. Okay, it was on. Everything's plugged in correctly, like 24 pin, got a RAM stick. All right, so let's try this one more time. And nothing. I haven't used this A520 motherboard in a while. Surely it still works. So this is the frustrating part of flipping PCs, and I thought that it would be good for all of you guys to see this. So because I haven't used this A520 board in a while, and it's an A520 board that I actually took out of a guy's PC where the SSD wasn't working correctly. So I replaced it because I was afraid something was wrong with this motherboard as well. And I'm afraid this motherboard may just be shot. So we'll be back. I'm gonna go grab another motherboard. All right, so third time's the charm. I've got another B550 motherboard here. All right, so if this doesn't work, then we know the CPU is completely dead because this is a brand new motherboard that I got off Flip, so that we know for sure that this thing is completely dead. This motherboard doesn't have any LEDs or anything like that, so it looks like the CPU is just completely dead because I know this motherboard works and it won't turn on. So, and we know that it booted just fine with the other motherboard. So the motherboard is dead because we know that other CPU worked just fine in the newer motherboard. So we have a dead motherboard and a dead CPU. So that's not good for our deal. So we're gonna have to do some haggling with this guy to see what he wants to do moving forward. So anyway, we're still gonna go ahead and put together his PC and show it to him and see what he wants to do when we're done. So we'll go over the full specs of that PC next. Now that we know what works and what doesn't work, now we're ready to, build a PC. Okay, so the test bench is back up because I just thought of something. There's a chance that he didn't really update the BIOS on this motherboard. And so that means the 5600 that we tried earlier wouldn't work if this was an older B550 before the 5000 series. There's a chance that it's not 5000 series ready, and so we're going to try one more time to boot this up and see if it works. So I'm gonna turn it on, and I wanna turn this motherboard a little bit. There we go. All right, so we're gonna try this one more time. We know the portable monitor's on, we know power's on. That scared me that there was a hair there. Thought that was smoke for a second, kind of freaked me out. Okay, so the CPU fan spun like one time and then stopped, but so I'm not sure what that's about. And that thing only spun one time and stopped. Okay, so let's reset this thing. Let's try this one more time. I really wish that I would turn the auto ISO off. That would be fantastic. All right, so let's try this one more time. Okay, maybe CPU fan spinning, but again, this ROG Strix light is just like, there's no lights over here on the side of the motherboard, like the debug lights, they're not on, and it's just this ROG Strix thing flashing, and the CPU fan is barely spinning. So it's like it's not getting a full current or something through the motherboard, like something's wrong with the power distribution almost, because it kind of like duh. So we're gonna chalk this motherboard up to being fried, because we're not getting a post and nothing else is happening, and I know this CPU works. It's a 3600 that we have here that's working. So yeah, definitely fried. So no more testing. We're gonna build his PC with the 5600 and the 6700 XT. So let's get that started. All right, so we'll just do a quick run through of the parts while we build this PC real quick. Again, the CPU we're using is the Ryzen 5 5600. Hopefully that will focus right there for you. Again, we're just gonna kind of go through the parts as we put this together, so I will skip all the boring stuff. Now, his cooler was absolutely disgusting, so we're using this Frozen A410 from ID Cooling. It's a solid black cooler. It looks really, really clean, and I can't remember. I think I paid like 25 bucks for it. I don't remember. Got some Arctic MX4 thermal paste. It's just what I keep on hand here in my little office area. Get this bad boy tightened down real quick. All right, RAM, we've already talked about, he's got 32 gigs of DDR4 Corsair Vengeance. It is CL18 RAM, so pretty good speeds. 3600 megahertz, so I'm gonna pop that in. And he didn't give us an SSD, so we're throwing in this 1 terabyte from Silicon Power. It is not the best speeds in the world, but it's 1 terabyte and it's Gen 4, so it'll do. I think I only paid like $55, $52, something like that for it. So our case right here is the Simon View. It's an ATX case, but it kind of looks like a micro ATX case. In fact, the standoffs are even kind of set up for like a micro ATX board, so we got to put some more standoffs in here. But it is an ATX case, so we are gonna, just barely be able to fit this in there, and it's gonna be a perfect fit. It's gonna fill out the case really nice. And these fans, kind of look like Lee & Lee, like knockoff fans. So it looks pretty cool. So I think it's gonna look pretty nice in this build, and so I'm pretty excited about that. And for the power supply, he's got a really nice ROG 850 watt power supply, which, is gonna be way more than what we need for this, but at least they got room to upgrade to, an X3D processor and, a nicer GPU one day if they want to. This is plenty for any upgrades they'll need for the AM4 platform. And last but certainly not least, we have the graphics card. the RX 6700 XT that we're gonna put inside this really nice knee view case here that is rocking our 5600 and 32 gigs of RAM. All right, so here it is, the beautiful PC, RX 5600 and the RX 6700 XT. I think it looks pretty awesome, but let me know what you think down in the comments. All right, now the only other thing left to do with this beautiful PC up and running is to contact the guy and see if we can work out a deal and see what he wants to do. Now, I personally am gonna have to ask for a little bit more money than what we originally intended because there was a dead motherboard, a dead CPU, and off camera, we tested the RX 580 and it was also dead. And so we got to message the guy and let him know all that and see what he wants to do. We just got done messaging the guy, and unfortunately, because of the fact that, you know, all of the stuff that was broken here, you know, he said, I really didn't expect that much to be broken. So you just go ahead and sell it or whatever you need to do. So I offered just for him to, you know, give me my money back, and then just basically I would give him the CPU and the case at cost. He still didn't really want to do that. Didn't think it was worth it. So he offered it to us just to have for our flipping PC videos because he had saw it on our YouTube channel. So I guess what we're gonna do is we'll either try to flip this PC or keep the RX 6700 XT for some benchmark videos in the future, because we've got some plans. We're working on collecting the top 20 GPUs from Steam for a video. So I don't know what we're gonna do. So let me know what you think we should do with it down in the comments. This is not really the adventure that we had hoped when I got this PC deal, but you know, this PC looks so good, and I really just, you know, I don't know what we should do. So you let me know down in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.